In this section, let's look at the Intruder tool within Burp Suite. Intruder is an enumeration or a brute force tool which helps you to automate by substituting different values for the parameters within the HTTP request. If you want to test one request at a time, we use the repeater tool which we discussed last time. But if you want to automate for multiple different values, or we can use Intruder. And we'll be seeing a couple of good examples to illustrate this point. So let's go to the proxy tab, pick a transaction, and we will pick the same search transaction and say right click and click send to Intruder. The Intruder tab is highlighted, and you can see the different parameters are automatically highlighted by Burp. So you can clear all the parameters by clicking the clear button, and you can add it manually by positioning the cursor and then clicking the add button on both sides. So now you can have different values for the query parameter using Intruder. So you can add multiple parameters by positioning your cursor and clicking the add button. You can add the session cookies as well to the list. So let's clear everything right now. And you can also click the auto button, so Burp will automatically find all the different parameters. Let's clear it now and just add the query parameter for our demo. So once that is set, you can go to the payloads tab and you can use the simple list. So basically simple list is a list of values. It can be loaded from a text file or you can manually type it in. So in this case, I'm just using numbers to iterate from say 100 to 200, and let's say we want to step by 1. So it will enumerate values like 100, 101, 102, etc. So there'll be like 100 requests for this transaction. And there are various options which you can set. And we can look at these options later, and go to Intruder and then say start. Since it's a free version, it's going to complain a bit, but let's say okay. And now Intruder goes on to work and it substitutes the query parameter with different values from 100 to 200. So you can see the power in this tool where you can do a lot of brute force kind of attacks. So let's close it. And let's look at a more sophisticated attack. So I'll go to the browser and let's create a user. With the username Raj, and type in whatever you feel like and say create account. And the password I'm using in this case is 12345 and say create account. So once that is done, you can log out and log in with the account you just created, which is the username is Raj and the password is 12345. So now you're able to log in and you can say hello Raj, you got 100 trade bucks to spend. So now let's log out and look at Burp to find the transaction that was used to log into the application. You can see the post request where the username and password is It's been sent. Send the transaction to the intruder. And if you look at the positions tab, you can see that the burp is highlighted, the session ID, username and password. And for this particular attack, let's use pitchfork attack type. So what pitchfork is, you can specify different sets of values for username and password. So don't worry if it doesn't make sense. It will be very clear in a minute. So let's set the username as a variable and also password as a variable. Since we have two variables and we're using pitchfork, if you go to payloads, you're going to see two payload sets. So for payload 1, we can list a set of values for username, and for payload set 2, we can list a set of passwords. So let me type in few usernames, and you can use whatever usernames you want, but the valid user is Raj, which we created a few minutes back. Let's create a couple more, and let's go to the second payload set, which signifies the passwords, and we can specify the same password 1 2 3 4 5 for all the values. We know for a fact that only one user has a password of 1 2 3 4 5, which is the user Raj. So once you do that, you can go to the options tab, and you don't have to touch anything there. So just go to intruder and start intruder. So burp intruder goes to work, and you can see all the requests. Let's expand burp a bit. So I think I used the wrong username, and let's change it to Raj, and we'll also add a password for Raj. So now let's try intruder again. Let's start the attack, and you get the warning message. So the last request, if you look at it, it has a length of 358 bytes. But this is an invalid request, which says the username password is not valid. But if you look at the last one, which should have worked, but it has a response status score of 303. And if you're wondering why that didn't work, so 303 response code means it is a redirection. So you need to redirect the application to another page. So the application is basically redirecting to another page. So in order to automatically do that, go to the options tab and scroll all the way to the bottom, and in the redirection section, say always for now. So if burp receives a 303 or 302 status code, it will automatically redirect to the other page. So now if you look at the request number 7, you see a different length, and you see that is the first response with the 303, and that's been redirected to the user's home page, and you see the response for that. Let's render that page and see how it looks like. And you see that the user Raj has been logged in by using a brute force technique of username and passwords. So if you look at the request, you can also see we identified another user with admin and a password of 12345. So this is a very, very powerful technique, and you can, if you can master this, you can uncover a lot of security issues or even any feature bugs within web applications. In the next section, let's look at the tool called Comparer within Burp Suite. Thanks everyone.